There is this mentality of I have to look like said person. Clearly, I felt that way at some point early on in this journey for myself, but be yourself. That's it. Part of what goes into how you represent your company or how you represent your business if you are an entrepreneur is bringing you fully to the table. If you have to make yourself small or I'll say filter yourself, then that's a problem. I don't know if that's work culture. I don't know if that's your environment or you just feel that that is what you have to do to fit in, but it's going to be tiring. It's going to weigh on you, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're in corporate. Welcome back to another episode of She Built Success. I am your host, Claudia, and this episode, you want to tune in. All right, so let's talk about entrepreneurship. I am of the camp that everyone should not be an entrepreneur. Let's talk about that off the break, and here's why. I believe that you can come into entrepreneurship and you can make a great entrepreneur, but the messaging out there that says, quit your 9 to 5 and start this side hustle is not for everybody. There are people and individuals who enjoy being part of a corporate body, who enjoy being part of a small business, a team, and that's okay. Entrepreneurship will test your faith. It'll test your courage. It'll test your stamina. It'll test your endurance. It'll have its highs and it'll have its lows. And if you're not ready to take that on, it's definitely not for you. I know for me, when I first started, I know I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've talked about that before in other episodes. But when I first started, it was in, 2009. And that was a product-based business. And that I ended up stopping it. Like, products is not my jam. I learned from me that wasn't it. But when I got back into services with my current company in 2014, it was something that at some point I felt like I'm not really an entrepreneur. I felt like, and I had my own company. I was working a contract, but I still felt like an employee. And I say that because the type of work that I was doing required me to work hours like a 9 to 5 and required me to, not literally clock in and out, but track those hours. And so it was almost like it felt hourly. It felt very employer, even though it was me representing my company. And I'm saying that because I can remember but being, feeling inauthentic with saying I'm an entrepreneur because I didn't look like everybody else. So some entrepreneurs work with other small businesses. And so at that time, that was not the space that I was in. And so I was like, well, shoot, am I really an entrepreneur? And I was questioning if it is really entrepreneurship or is it just a glorified employee, just call myself a quote unquote consultant. Like, that was something that I actually went back and forth with myself. And obviously, ultimately, I came to the fact that, yeah, dude, I'm an entrepreneur. We're good. Let's keep it moving. But I'm saying that because there was a perception, especially on social, like you had to have all these sales funnels and this type of cycle and thousands of clients coming in or leads coming in and then converting them into clients. And then I wasn't doing all that. I had a nice multiple high six-figure contract that I was working at the time, and that was it. And to me, that still felt like an employee. I didn't feel like an entrepreneur. But when I came around to stop listening to all the noise that was on social and really understand, what it is I was doing, it's like, yeah, yours looks different. Mine at the time, it looked different. It was, me working the contracts, but I'm still an entrepreneur. It might not be it wasn't at the time in the small business space. It was in government contracting, but that's what it was. Or actually, no, I take that back. My first contract was not. It was actually with a large company who now no longer exists. Well, actually, I should say they merged with a bigger company, so they're even bigger. But it was, and that wasn't even in government. That was a specific data project for them. And so it took a lot of just tuning down the noise that was on social about what an entrepreneur looks like to come to my own voice or understanding of who I am as a company, who I am as a brand, and then how I represent myself when I work with my clients. And so that was the shift for me. Now, I'm saying that because there is this mentality of I have to look like said person. And I'm saying clearly I felt that way at some point early on in this journey for myself, but be yourself. That's it. Part of what goes into how you represent your company or how you represent your business if you are an entrepreneur is bringing you fully to the table. And we talk a lot about the multifaceted person and what that looks like. And you have many facets, and being able to showcase that to your clients is what helps you stand out, is what helps you make unique. And I say that, so I can remember I had some kids, it was summertime, over the summer, I had some kids knock on my door, and they were 13 and 14, young Black boys, and he came knocking on my door. One had like this, it looked like, I thought he had headphones on, which I thought was kind of odd, but I realized later it was a fan. And he was like, yes, ma'am, we're in the area, and we are looking at different houses, and we're offering washing of the windows. And just wanted to know if we could walk around your house and give you an estimate for what it would cost to wash windows. So first off, when I say my little heart sang inside, I got so excited that I verbally out was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. I was like, so that's when I asked, how old they were and how long they've been doing it. And it's like, oh, they told me they'd just been doing it for a couple months. I said, well, how's business going? Like, I just struck up a whole conversation with these kids in genuine excitement and just the fact that they were out there, not only as young teens, but as young Black males, because we all know perception right now is just ridiculously misconstrued with the Black community and what we're doing. And so to see those young boys just having he communicated, he said what his company does. He said, he walked around, he said he's gonna give me an estimate. Listen, I was so excited. I didn't care what he said, how much it cost. I was like, yes, we're gonna do it. But I let him do his thing. And so I went and, he said, okay, well, we're gonna walk around, him and his partner. He's like, yeah, we're gonna walk around, and then I'll come back and I'll let you know, what the estimate's gonna be. And so my house has 3 floors in it. And so some windows are a little bit higher. So, when he came back, he said, he rang the doorbell because I closed the door. It's going to take a moment for him to, give me the estimate. I knew that. So I closed the door. And then he came back and he was like, okay, we're all set. And he starts to pull out his phone, y'all. And this little boy young teen, I won't call him a little boy, but this young teen had on his phone pictures of my house and where like the dirty areas were and where they were going to focus on. I didn't even need to look at the phone to be like, oh my, he is doing his thing. I was so proud. It wasn't even my kid. I don't have any sons. It wasn't even my kid. And I was just so proud of him. So then I proceeded to ask him, I'm like, I was like, so, how do you wash windows? Now, here goes my marketing brain kicking in, with how he can help with his messaging. How can I help him, make it better, build it up? And so, I was like, well, how are you washing the windows? Because first off, I didn't see any equipment. They're teens. They're not yet driving, so they definitely came on their bikes. So I'm like, well, what's your process? And he's like, oh, I could show you, we have these, what is it? Microfiber type wand brush, I don't know, things. And, we have this solution and we do this with the windows and we're going to do this level here. And it was hot. So I was definitely not anticipating them doing all windows. And he said, we'll come back and do the second half here. And this is how and explaining how he washes it. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, is it just you two? He was like, let me tell you what boy said. He said, oh no, I have 4 other employees. I was like, okay, go ahead. And that is literally how I reacted when he said that. I was like, okay, 4 employees. I hear you. I was like, that's the thing. And so they came back, they washed the windows and whatnot. And so the intent was the time of day they came, it was like early afternoon, and they were going to come back in the evening to do the rest. 1, it was too hot, and I did not want them out there in the heat that long. But 2, it was the higher windows, and so they had to go get additional equipment to be able to get the higher windows. And so I said, okay, no problem. I asked them, do you take Cash App or what's the other one, or Zelle? I don't remember which one you paid for, but he told me, so he put the deposit down, and so he went about his business. As soon as they were done doing the level of windows that they were going to do, he came back. He rang my doorbell. He's like, okay, we're all set. We did this. We'll be back in a few hours to do the next half. Now, at the time when they were doing it, a storm was brewing, and so I said, okay. I sent him on his way. So I said that was it. He for that day, and he comes back and he's like, yeah. So I'm sorry. He texts me. He's like, I'm sorry. We're not going to be able to come back out today, but we'll be able to come back the next day to be able to finish the work. And I said, okay, no problem. I mean, like I said, they're 13 and 14. It's about to storm, something serious too. Don't nobody want the kids out there in that, no matter what they're doing. And so, but what I want to underscore in that is the drive, the communication, the messaging, and the way he was speaking to not only communicate what he was offering, but to communicate when he couldn't finish the contract that we already agreed upon, right? Or couldn't finish it for that particular day. And so he texts me the next day to say, okay, we're ready to come through to do the next part of the job. Just wanted to let you know so you don't think anything weird's happening around the house. That's basically, which I appreciate. And I'm like, I don't know his parents. I just know him. And so he comes back the next day, and knocks on the door, and he's like, okay, we're here. And I opened the door and I was like, okay, I remember you. I don't remember you. You look new. So he had his other employee with him. And the way he communicated to me, I left this part up, but the way he communicated that he was not able to come back, he used ma'am, like literally used ma'am. And all I could think of was like, his parents must be so proud. I hope they're proud of him. I was proud of him. I'm still proud of him, just for the work that they did. So they came back, they did the rest of the windows. And I told him, I was like, listen, here goes my marketing hat. I was like, listen, if you want to take before and after pictures, because I knew he had the pictures before he did the job. I was like, if you want to take before and after pictures, go for it. Just don't get the house number, don't get any plates, and we're good to go. And he was like, yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you. And then I said, and check in with me when the summer's done. Let me know how business is going. That's like genuinely vested in this kid. But it was just, I got so excited because not only is he making money. Oh, wait, I left this part out. Y'all know my story, like AZD. Here we go. I left this part out. When they came back on day 2, they came back wearing these red polos, y'all, and it had their company name on it. I'm not going to say it out loud because they're kids, and so I won't do that. But it was embroidered with their company name on it. They had matching shirts. I was like, so I asked him, I was like, hold on. I said, y'all coming in here with shirts? I kid you not, this is what I said. Y'all coming in here with shirts? I said, I know that's right. I said, when'd you get the shirts made? And he goes, oh, we got them from Amazon. I said, oh, go ahead, branding. And so it was just, the energy you're seeing here with me now was literally the energy I showed them. Hopefully I didn't scare them. Gave them some water, ice water and whatnot, between jobs to make sure they stay hydrated. But I told them, come on in. I'm not weird, I promise. You could just stand right here. I'll just go get you the water because the heat was hot, or the sun was hot. And so I just wanted to make sure they were okay. And they went on their way. But yeah, I told him to make sure he lets me know end of summer. He could just send me a quick text how it all went. But I don't know how many homes he did end up working for that week, or even those couple days. But I'm saying that because that's a version that is entrepreneurship, but that is like drive, like what he learned in that. I'm sure there's people who turned him down and said no. I'm sure there's, he's learning resiliency, being able to bounce back. But then yes is, okay, this is what I did. This is what I did right. He may or may not be thinking at that level with how he's doing it, but him taking the action. And I just keep stressing that here on this podcast. Push and go, taking action. You're not going to know if you don't do. If you just sit there and be in theory all day, you're not going to get anywhere. He went out there, him and his friends and his 4 employees, they went out there and they were going literally door to door knocking. And you just don't see that. It was really a beautiful thing. And I wanted to shout that out because entrepreneurship is not easy. They're 13, 14-year-old and they are doing their thing this summer. So I just wish them all the success. But I want you to think about, like, if you're in entrepreneurship, and yes, there's going to be moments where there's valleys. There's going to be moments where there's really good highs, but be ready for those valleys, because sometimes the valleys will knock you off your feet a little bit. Be in a position where I'm not going to say can anticipate, because we don't know what we don't know, but you're in a position or setting yourself up so that if and when there are valleys, you're able to endure those valleys. And when there are those highs, you're able to endure those highs. I think for me, I'll say it this way, entrepreneurship is difficult. we just took back on bringing on small businesses as clients and helping them get into government contracting. And even that it's almost like a restart. I know previously we've done work with small businesses for digital marketing, for email marketing, funnels, all that fun stuff in prior years. And then we paused to specifically focus on government contracting. And getting back into small business has been, I'm not gonna say an uphill battle, but it's different now. And I think it's in this particular lens, which is government contracting, I think it's so different because it's so tainted. You hear so much misinformation, so much hype about the money involved, but no talk about how to get to that money. What does it look like to even start in government contracting? What should I be looking for? Which agencies should I focus on? I mean, all of those elements are part of the bigger strategy. And so that's what we've started to do with small businesses, help to guide them along that path. And I don't know. I'm saying it real time as we're going through what this looks like. I mean, even for within the company, we built out an entire system that helps us not only track pipeline and what's coming up, but track relationships, track how the team is doing. All this, again, y'all know Airtable's my jam. And I'll leave a couple links below in the description so that you can see firsthand what it looks like to be able to visually see all of this in one place. Because if it were not for the systems that are in our company, I would not be able to know at a drop of a hat how we're performing. Are we meeting metrics? Are we answering the right questions? And all of those things as a small business. And in government space, I'd almost call us a micro business. I would call us a micro business, micro small business. You have to know that. You have to be able to speak to your strengths to the different agencies or to different influencers or decision makers in government. And if you're not able to communicate that, what's your pipeline? What's your runway? What type of work have you performed in the past? What are you offering us? Can you scale down? Like answering those questions, like literally at the drop of a hat, you're not going to get too far. I know I kind of slanted us a little bit on government contracting, but as an entrepreneur, it's being clear on where you want to go, being able to say, I am starting here. And for us, we are starting at ground zero with small businesses. Well, okay, let's call it one because we have experience in it, but we're starting at level 1 with small businesses. And we're now taking them from their level 0 in government contracting to the point where they're able to start putting in their own responses to different solicitations. So ask yourself, how are you coming across authentically as an entrepreneur? And if entrepreneurship is not your jam, that's all right. Bold Move Bestie, I got you. Think about, how are you coming across authentically as yourself? Do you have to put on a show when you're at work? Do you have to hide who you really are and perform in the workplace? Like, think about that, because if you have to make yourself small, or I'll say filter yourself, over filter yourself, then that's a problem. I don't know if that's work culture. I don't know if that's your environment, or you just feel that is what you have to do to fit in, but it's going to be tiring. It's going to weigh on you, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're in corporate. And you need to be able to fully be you. And it's funny, I've been looking at just stats in general with the podcast and what resonates. And a lot of you like listening to motivational stuff and you can do it kind of content. And what I found, it's funny, when I first started this, I'm not a cheerleader, I don't think. But then it's like, as I'm talking, I'm like, you kind of are a cheerleader. You are kind of motivating. But it's not a, what is I'm trying to say? It's not a put on type of a motivation. It genuinely is like, you can do this. You can. You just have to be honest with yourself. I think so often we're conditioned to filter ourselves down to what somebody expects us to be or how we may potentially show up, that we lose sight of who we really are. And it's a journey. We all evolve, myself included. And just being comfortable with knowing that evolution will happen, I think will get you into a good spot. So Bold Move Bestie, you have an assignment. I want you to comment below. What is one thing you're doing today to be more authentic and transparent? What is one thing you are doing today to be more authentic and transparent? If you're an entrepreneur, say how you're doing in business. If you're a mom, say how you're doing it as a mom or a partner. Say that. But what is one thing that you're doing today to show authenticity and transparency? Now, Like I said before, entrepreneurship is not for everyone, and that is okay. We need everyone to be a part of the workforce, whether you are a small business or not. So, Bo Moves Bestie, I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye. If you're done with the fluff and ready to execute on the how, then visit shebuiltsuccess.com for the tools you need. It's time to push go and dive into real strategies, genuine understanding, and concrete steps to create both more in business and life. Head on over to shebuiltsuccess.com for access to exclusive downloads, resources, and bonuses. Because moving boldly forward is not just a destination, it's a multi-layered journey. Let's grow and build your success together.